In northern Kharkiv, near the contested urban sector of Vovchansk, Russian tactical doctrine has increasingly emphasized infiltration by small infantry elements. These groups advance incrementally, moving through woodland burrows, abandoned structures, and agricultural clearings to gather in forward positions before launching localized attacks. To counter these infiltration tactics, fighters from the 58th Separate Mechanized Infantry Brigade have instituted a systematic targeting regime against suspected staging areas and temporary shelters. When Russian forces attempt to concentrate inside frontline structures or field fortifications, Ukrainian forces deploy a multi-layered aerial response. Heavy bomber drones capable of carrying substantial explosive payloads target the structural integrity of these hideouts, while radio-controlled and fiber-optic linked FPV drones are used to target precise entry points and internal spaces. By systematically demolishing these staging points, the 58th Brigade deprives advancing elements of intermediate cover, forcing them into open terrain where they remain vulnerable to long-range fire and secondary reconnaissance strikes.
Летять. Це оператор. Це от сладкий сидить. Якось отак от происходит момент, коли ми сидимо у підвалі. Якось отак проходить момент роботи і знищення орків.
Further along the same operational vector, border guards operating under the Apex unit of the Forpost Brigade encountered a similar tactical scenario when intelligence elements identified a Russian sabotage and reconnaissance group attempting to slip through gaps in the Ukrainian. Sabotage and reconnaissance units rely primarily on stealth, speed, and terrain features to bypass forward observation posts. In this instance, aerial reconnaissance personnel tracked the group's movement through the Vovchansk direction in real time. Upon realizing they had been detected, the Russian soldiers attempted to take cover inside a nearby hardened shelter. However, continuous aerial monitoring allowed Apex UAV operators to maintain a positive visual lock on the site. A precision strike was coordinated directly against the structure, neutralizing the reconnaissance element before it could carry out its objective or transmit targeting data back to its command post. This persistent aerial surveillance extends beyond specialized reconnaissance squads to standard infantry movements near the forward edge of the battle area. In another sector, under the responsibility of the 66th Separate Mechanized Brigade, a three-man Russian scout team attempted to approach forward Ukrainian positions. Utilizing low-lying vegetation and maintaining physical dispersion between individual riflemen, a standard defensive measure to mitigate the impact of perimeter artillery, the team attempted to close the distance. Undetected, drone operators monitored the team's advance through multi-spectral sensors. Once the scouts entered an optimal engagement zone, Ukrainian crews deployed a combination of heavy-shot bomber drones and fast, maneuvering FPV quadcopters. Despite the soldiers' attempts to use natural cover and maintain separation, sequential strikes eliminated the element.
Сейчас я наведу туда, понял, на дорогу порезче.
Ты жопа.
На, попал. Да, это мое любимое место, понял. Массовой казни. И там еще в лесу что-то горит, там сейчас нормальный движ будет. Сейчас мы... Какая-то как будто бы вечериночка. И они туда, а мы уже там.
Красавчик. Бензовоз.
Так без фары їхав. Отмена. Ветер просто не... А что, вы будете по мне стрелять? Ой, бегут с фонариками, бегут. Черти. А, дверь открытая, походу.
Это десант, походу.
Ой.
Beyond immediate infantry engagements, the contest for operational momentum relies heavily on supply lines. In the Donetsk region of Donbas, where heavy fighting has placed continuous demand on ammunition and troop rotations, Ukrainian drone operators have focused extensively on interdicting rear area supply channels. Units like Signum have concentrated their operations against the light transport vehicles, unarmored trucks, and utility transports that form the backbone of frontline Russian logistics. In an effort to counter this aerial threat, Russian engineers and logistics units have constructed physical barriers along key road networks, installing anti-drone netting over vulnerable routes and critical transit points. These nets are designed to catch incoming FPV drones or detonate their contact fuses prematurely, protecting the vehicles passing underneath. Despite these physical countermeasures, Signum drone pilots executed a series of coordinated strikes deep within occupied territories in Donbas, successfully bypassing protective netting to hit moving targets. The operation resulted in the destruction of an all-terrain vehicle, 3 civilian-style cars pressed into military service, a cargo truck, a motorcycle, and a UAZ Bukanka utility van.
Повертаю.
Так, ты нашел?
Біара
Нашел
біля
чи ні?
чині. Да, были с другой стороны. Да, все. Были там, бля, там топал.
Во, да, вот там черт, да, вот, красава, глянь. Есть.
Все, працювало, да. Чё?
Плюс.
И в дождь, и в любую погоду сюда в этаж.
Якийсь блиндаж сложить.
Ну да. У нас было сколько за декабрь? Мы в декабре были 15 дней на позиции. У нас 40 200, 8 300.
Это куст. Еще чуть-чуть правее куста и выше, чуть-чуть там буквально он на белом стоит прям.
А, какой
Бачиш, воно. Ото воно
с
стоїть.
ногами вот тут. Ну,
Да. Ось що, він на нього практично наніс.
The vulnerability of logistically vital transport routes is not confined to the immediate front lines in Donbas. It extends deep into strategic rear corridors, including the primary land routes connecting mainland Russian-controlled territory to the occupied Crimean Peninsula. In one documented incident, a Ukrainian strike drone targeted a commercial Russian cargo lorry traveling along this key arterial highway. Visual evidence from the scene, including footage recorded by the vehicle's driver following the engagement, showed that the drone maneuvered directly toward the front of the vehicle before detonating against the cab. The strike disabled the vehicle on the main roadway, severely disrupting commercial and military transport along the corridor and creating immediate traffic congestion.
Ёб твою мать! Стекло нахуй.
Их два было.
Да?
Ага, него.
Короче, машине пиздец нахуй. Все, он прям зашел, а я, сука, затормозил, блядь. Но он вроде бы ничего не течет, не капает. Воздух, блядь, тосол. Все пиздец, нахуй, ослику. Ебать, нахуй. Я затормозил, блядь. Успел, там впереди въебали. Тут пробка, сука. Короче, въебали по кабине. В мою сторону, нахуй. Вот такая вот залупа. Зашел квадрокоптер, блядь. Пиздец. Сейчас здесь будет пробка. Сейчас начнут ебашить конкретно.
In response to the pervasive threat of drone warfare, both militaries have prioritized the location and destruction of enemy drone operating cells and their associated equipment storage sites. Because drone operators exert an outsized influence on the local tactical environment, locating an operator team or their supply cache is considered a high-priority operational objective. In a recent targeted operation, operators from the 422nd Luftwaffe Unmanned Systems Regiment located a central staging facility used by Russian drone crews. The facility, situated inside a hardened building, served as both an operational control node and a primary storage hub for a significant quantity of unmanned aerial vehicles and control gear. Rather than relying on high-altitude precision munitions or long-range artillery, which might alert the occupants or miss internal storage areas, the 422nd Regiment deployed a specialized kamikaze attack drone into the target site. The operator navigated the drone through an opening in the building's exterior, flying directly into the interior chamber where the equipment and personnel were concentrated. The subsequent detonation initiated secondary explosions among the stored materiel, destroying the facility, its operational equipment, and the assembled drones from within. Simultaneously, the search for heavy fire support systems remains a critical component of frontline interdiction operations. Artillery systems like the Russian 152mm Gyatsin B-towed gun possess significant range and firepower, allowing them to shell Ukrainian defensive positions from concealed field positions several kilometers behind the immediate line of contact. In the southern Slobodansky sector, border guards operating under the Apex UAV unit identified a camouflaged Gyatsin B artillery piece hidden within a dense forest belt. Accompanying the gun was a field storage pit containing a substantial reserve of 152mm high-explosive ammunition. Upon establishing positive identification, the Apex operators executed a precision drone strike directly on the position. The initial hit detonated the primary explosive charges stored adjacent to the gun, triggering a massive secondary explosion that completely destroyed the artillery piece and its surrounding position. The changing dynamics of the conflict have also seen the introduction of foreign-manufactured weaponry onto the Ukrainian battlefield. In the Sloviansk sector, reconnaissance elements from the Ukrainian Apache unit identified a rare North Korean-made Type 63 multiple launch rocket system deployed in a concealed firing position. The Type 63, a multi-barreled rocket system designed for rapid-fire saturation strikes, represents the growing integration of external military hardware into Russian frontline artillery inventories. To target this mobile rocket system, which was heavily camouflaged within surrounding cover, the Apache unit deployed a fiber-optic controlled unmanned aerial vehicle. The use of fiber-optic technology in this engagement allowed the operator to maintain high-definition video feedback and precise flight control right up to the moment of impact, entirely unaffected by local electronic countermeasures or terrain obstructions that often degrade standard radio signals. The resulting precision strike hit the launcher directly, destroying the system alongside its loaded munitions.
Хед. Оба на готовності. Вогонь.
А нахуй! Раскумарься, дурочка, блядь! Бля, братан, включи видос на телефоне.
Когда будете пить чай, дай знать.
А, это по ним хуярят. По ним хуярят, говорю. Сосать, шлюха!
Опять было. Я дракона. Газик, пара, розетка.
Давай, закатище, ебашь.
А, ну какого? Туда же и зарплата. Туда же и зарплата. Как придется. Кончили.
Что, пробежимся?
Рядом смазан. На связи, Дрейден, на связи.
Заходи.
Я пошел на базар. Нет, давай, на стену. Ты что, мусор что ли ебать, а? Есть вода? Нет, зараз. Вот здесь, блядь, сказали все доставать.